this is a crucial issue here, because one of the things we really have to understand is that if we don't develop our ability to generate and disseminate cheap energy in the developed countries, where we have not only high standards of environmental stewardship on the legal front, but an ethos of environmental stewardship among the distributed business class. It's already there. They're already aiming at that. All that's going to happen is that worse providers elsewhere are going to be brought aboard. As you said, we're buying oil from, well, let's say Canada isn't. I don't think we import oil from Russia, but obviously the Europeans import fossil fuels from Russia like mad. All we're doing is enabling the Chinese and the dictatorial Gulf states to fill in the gaps, let's say.
Absolutely.
And I cannot see in any possible way how that's going to be good for poor people or good for the environment in any sense whatsoever. And I think your comments about Trudeau being a poster boy for the Klaus Schwab and the WEF types, and also your comments on ESGs, which everyone should know about, the ESG mandates that are coming in at the corporate level. If we get snookered into a digital currency, which seems to me to be highly probable, then not only are corporate expenses going to have to be accounted for in terms of their hypothetical carbon footprint, but every bloody purchase that individuals make is going to be subject to exactly the same kind of analysis and taxation and nudging and pressure. And so every consumer decision we make is going to be weighed up in terms of our environmental impact for no good outcome. Let's make that clear. To make everything more expensive, to make energy more expensive, to make food more inaccessible, to hurt the planet, to make it more difficult for people to conduct their business, and for poor people to starve. That's the bloody vision that's being put forth by the half-wit cliche mongers like Klaus Schwab.
Well, let me first speak about the first point that you made about bad actors. So we have the third largest accessible oil reserves on the planet in Canada, which we leave largely untapped. And right now in Europe, 40% of their supply is coming from Russia. If we were able to develop our natural resources, even get our LNG to Tidewater, get it over to Europe, we could actually offset dependency on Russian oil. And so you're absolutely right that the need is still there. And the fact that our government has implemented industry killing policies, that is basically just to stymie our production. It is the same thing that when we implement these policies on our farmers, it's really affecting our global supply chain. When we have these social governance rules that are imposed on Canadian businesses, it means that we will not be producing at the level that we should be producing. We are actually being dependent on foreign countries to produce and import it. And that's why we will continue to have such large trade deficits. And trade deficits, some people will say, well, that tells you that you have a rich nation and you don't have to produce everything. But we see what dependency can cause. I also want to touch on the digital ID and this whole digitization of our economy. Yes, it is a transition to a new economy. The plan is for everything. Even the way our GDP would be calculated would be based on a new means of calculation that would have ingrained in it the carbon footprint. And so the carbon footprint is almost going to replace what we know as our dollar. And when we see centralized digital banking currencies, when we see that emerging, that is creating the infrastructure. And arguably, you could even argue that things such as digital currencies were a test ground for creation of that infrastructure of the new economy. That's why I think that my inclusion in the leadership race and in the future of Canada is so important. because I've spent years studying what it is that we've been embarked upon. Many people do not understand what is happening, how every calculation, everything that you do will be logged on that blockchain. The blockchain could see every single transaction, and it's going to be recorded, and our entire lives are going to be equated on how much carbon footprint we contribute to society, or how good we are at reducing our carbon footprint.